Hello and welcome. I'm Jess and I'm your quizmaster today for 100 general knowledge questions. So let's go. Which US president had the shortest term, lasting only 32 days? William Henry Harrison, James Garfield, or Zachary Taylor? William Henry Harrison. In the painting American Gothic, what is the man in the painting holding? An axe, fruit and vegetables, or a pitchfork? A pitchfork. How different would the painting be if it was fruit and veg? On the periodic table, the symbol for gold is AU and the symbol for silver is AS, AG or SI. AG. The 1970s film Caddyshack stars Bill Murray, Jed Knight and Chevy Chase, Adam Sandler or Michael J. Fox? Chevy Chase. What was the nickname given to the head marketer of Campbell's SpaghettiOs? Father of SpaghettiOs, Spaghetti Man, or Daddy-O of SpaghettiOs? Daddy-O of SpaghettiOs. What an accolade. As a former marketeer, I'd have loved that. When is Mexico's Day of the Dead celebration? November 1st to 2nd, October 30th to 31st, or January the 1st? November 1st to 2nd. Can we build it? Yes, we can, is the tagline from which children's TV show? Handy Manny, Arthur, or Bob the Builder? It's Bob the Builder. Can you remember who was the narrator of him? Drop it in the comments if you can. In what century was gunpowder invented? 20th century, 14th century, or 9th century? 9th century. Madge Knows Best was the slogan for which brand? Swiffer, Palmolive, or Bounty? Palmolive. Mount Vesuvius overlooks which Italian city? Rome, Naples, or Florence? I have been there in a thunderstorm. It's terrifying. I thought it was going to erupt. And it was over Naples. When was the first ever music festival? And what genre of music were the performers? 1954 in jazz, 1959 and rock and roll, or 1947 and jazz? It was in 1954 and it was jazz. How epic must that have been? Which holiday marks the end of Ramadan? Ashura, Eid al-Fitr, or Hajj? Eid al-Fitr. Fill in the blank of Slinky toy jingle. It's Slinky, it's Slinky, the greatest toy in the world. It bounces and slinks, or for fun, it's a wonderful toy. For fun, it's a wonderful toy. Rubbish in our childhood household as a bungalow. In what country are voters automatically registered? United States, Sweden or Denmark? Probably a good idea given the election registration crisis here in the UK. In Sweden, they are automatically registered. What is a mocha coffee drink named after? A city in Yemen, a dessert in Italy, or a French explorer? A city in Yemen. Did you know that? Which starlet was also an inventor and created radio guidance systems for torpedoes? Audrey Hepburn, Hedy Lamarr, Rita Hayworth? Hedy Lamarr. Where did the 1980 Miracle on Ice occur? Denver, Lake Placid or Oslo? Lake Placid. How the Grinch Stole Christmas is set in which fictional town? Whoville, Emerald City or Catrue? It's Whoville. What was the real name of the 1980s Night Stalker killer in Los Angeles? Richard Ramirez, David Berkowitz or John Wayne Gacy? Richard Ramirez. What character from the Dukes of Hazzard are the namesake for a style of women's shorts? Bermudas, Rosie Dukes or Daisy Dukes? It's Daisy Dukes. Do you remember the original series of the Dukes of Hazzard? Brilliant. Which explorer reached China first? Marco Polo, Christopher Columbus or John Cabot? Marco Polo. The Taj Mahal is actually a royal castle, a temple or a mausoleum? It's a mausoleum. What was the name of the supercontinent that existed 180 million years ago? Pathos, Pangaea or Pantheon? Pangaea. What was the name of the hotel in the 1960 film Psycho? Grand Hotel, Holiday Inn or Bates Motel? Bates Motel. What Canadian dish is made of French fries and gravy? Irish nachos, poutine or Canadian nachos? Poutine. When in history were birthday celebrations first mentioned? Ancient Egypt, 3000 BCE, Ancient Greece, 700 BCE, or Ancient Mayans, 1500 BCE? Ancient Egypt, 3000 BCE. What TV character said, "Live long and prosper"? Kermit the Frog, Bart Simpson, or Spock? It was Spock, not Kermit the Frog. Oh my goodness. George Washington Carver came up with how many ways to use peanuts? 50, 300 or 500? I can think of one. You eat them. Can you think of more than one? He thought of 300 ways. What 1970s cereal commercial featured a boy who only liked this specific cereal? Golden Grahams, Life or Cheerios? Life. What 1970s cereal commercial featured a boy who only liked this specific cereal? Atacama, Sahara or Great Victoria? Now I apologise because I think this is a rewrite. So give yourself a point for question 30 and try and guess what the question was. Which company created the Walkman music listening device? Samsung, Sony or Apple? Did you have one of these with your cassette player? A Sony Walkman. I think I had the knockoff cheaper version. What Hindu festival is dedicated to the goddess Durga? Holi, Navaratri or Diwali? Navaratri. Where were trivia games first started in 1965? Columbia University newspaper, NBC's live game show or board game? Columbia University newspaper. How many monarchies are still in existence? 16, 27 or 43? There's still quite a lot of monarchies still around. What type of drink is added to a traditional tiramisu recipe? Vodka, Coca-Cola or dark rum? Dark rum. I think it would taste a bit different with Coca-Cola. What were sock hops in the 1950s? Soda shops, dances or clothing stores? Did you ever go to a sock hop? Have we got some of you who were around off to your sock hop? To your dances in the 1950s? Amazing. Bet they were such fun. Why was Diego Maradona's goal in 1986 called the Hand of God? It occurred during a rainstorm, he punched the ball in the net with his hand, or it was in the wrong net. The controversial handball as he punched the ball in the net with his hand. What is the plot of the 1969 novel Slaughterhouse-Five? Meat corporations, a notorious serial killer, or a World War II prison of war? A World War II prison of war. What did Ted Bundy study in college? Criminal justice, psychology, or English? Psychology. What colour are the soles of Christian Louboutin heels? Blue, red or white? I aim to have a pair of these shoes one day, and if I do, I will just sit down with my feet facing upwards so everyone can see the bottom of the soles are red. The Opium War was between China and England, Scotland or Italy? It's England. Which French artist was known for painting ballerinas? Edgar Degas, Paul Cézanne, or Henri Matisse? Edgar Degas. Who is responsible for construction of the atomic bomb? Robert J. Oppenheimer, Albert Einstein, or Marie Curie? Robert J. Oppenheimer. Who sang Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King? Phil Collins, Prince, or Elton John? One of my favourite music artists, very talented man, charismatic, Elton John, amazing. What state currently produces the most peaches? California, Georgia, or South Carolina? California. What is the purpose of the Monkey Buffet Festival in Thailand? It's a massive birthday celebration, or it brings good fortune to honour the local animals. It brings good fortune. Which series has won the most Golden Globe Awards for television drama? Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, or Cheers? Do you have a favourite series there? Is it the same one that's won the amount of Golden Globes, The Sopranos? I'm ashamed to say I've not seen one episode. What was the name of the first printing machine? Gutenberg Press, Magician Print, or News Press? The Gutenberg Press, and I believe that's where the phrase the gutter press came from. Which brand spokesperson was introduced in the 1960s? Chef Boyardee, Pillsbury Doughboy, or Chester Cheetah? Pillsbury Doughboy or Doug Boy. Which US city called the City of Fountains? Kansas City, Chicago, or Seattle? Kansas City. What was the first device that made music portable? CDs, VHS tape, or cassette tape? I think we mentioned these earlier. The cassette tape in your Sony Walkman or another brand of portable device. The Mid-Autumn Festival in China is also known as the Chinese New Year, Moon Festival, or Sun Festival. Moon Festival. What name was considered for Scrabble? Word jumble, lexico, or scrambled words? Lexico. What country sends a fine if citizens do not vote? Australia, Zambia, or India? Australia. An interesting concept. Who began making alcoholic ciders in 3000 BC? The Celtics, the Greeks or the Moors? Clever people. The Celtics would be my husband's favourites. He's partial to a lovely cider. What was a fad that started in the 1970s? American Girl dolls, silly bands, or mood rings? Mood rings. Do you have one of those? Basically just tells you if you're hot or cold. How old was Olympic gymnast Mary Lou Retton when she scored a perfect 10? 14, 16 or 17? Just 16. Amazing gymnast. What fictional bear was a stowaway on a ship? Winnie the Pooh, Paddington Bear or Corduroy? Paddington Bear. Who were the Central Park Five? A group wrongfully convicted of murder, notorious New York gang, or a jazz band from New York? And it's not the guys from Friends, that would have been Central Perk, wouldn't it? These were a group of wrongfully convicted murderers. In the 1980s and 90s, who was called the clothes horse ambassadors of fashion? Princess Diana, Jamie Lee Curtis or Sophia Loren? It was Princess Diana. Anything she wore became and must have. Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony advocated for wildlife and national parks, birth control pills or women's rights. Women's rights. What was Frank Lloyd Wright's profession? Impressionist artist, war general or architect? He was an architect. Which is true of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia? Deepest part of the ocean, Earth's largest living structure, or close to being extinct? It is the Earth's largest living structure. The quote, "Here's looking at you, kid," is from what film? Citizen Kane, Gone with the Wind, or Casablanca? The classic Casablanca. Zuzatang is the namesake for what Americanized dish? General Tso's chicken, Liu mein, or Szechuan shrimp? General Tso's chicken. In what country do people bake money in food on New Year's Eve? Bolivia, Taiwan or Cuba? I'm intrigued, is that notes or coins? Bolivia, I'm pretty sure, and I hope it would be coins because I think the notes would get a bit, baked in. What singing competition featured British record executive Simon Cowell? American Idol, The Voice or The Masked Singer? American Idol. Which of the following did Henry Ford not improve? The telephone, the assembly line or the gas-powered car? Which one was Henry Ford not involved in? The telephone, of course. No trick questions here. It's either you know or you don't. In 1985, the Cadbury Flake Girl was a movie theatre ad, a store mascot, or a television commercial. A television commercial. Wasn't it voted the most sexy with the Cadbury's flake coming out from her lip? Not for me, no. What is a durian? Found in Southeast Asia. A fish dish, a tropical fruit, or a traditional ceremony? It's a tropical fruit. The formation of which group led to the establishment of the Grammys? Music Hall of Fame Board, Musicians and Singers Group, or National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences? National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. Why was Oktoberfest first celebrated in Germany? There was a royal wedding, an opening of a new brewery, or to celebrate a new Prime Minister. And of course it's taken off now, really famous every year, Oktoberfest. It was first to celebrate a royal wedding. What did British Secret Service use to smuggle information to free POWs during World War II? Cereal boxes, Monopoly boxes, or gun cases? They smuggled Monopoly boxes to help free prisoners of war. In 1991, Ireland made it illegal to go where on Sundays? Church, food store, or cinema? Up until recently here in Guernsey, you couldn't buy household goods on a Sunday, but it was illegal in Ireland to go to the cinema. How crazy. Or do you believe Sunday should be special? What is fermented water created with? Yeast and white sugar, brown sugar and flour, or hops and maple syrup? Yeast and white sugar. What does CB radio stand for? Creature Band, Citizens Band, or Cool Babblers? Now I remember the CB radio of years gone by. Brilliant. It was Citizens Band. Used to tune into the other bands as well. Really fascinating. How did the Boston Red Sox break the curse of the Bambino? They won the World Series, made a trade with the Yankees, or sold to a new owner? Won the World Series. In the novel of Mice and Men, George and Lenny were fleeing from what town? Sausalito, Weed, or Tumbleweed? Weed. How was British Conservative Airey Neave killed in 1979? Gunshot wound, planted bomb under car, or thrown from a building? Planted bomb under a car. Which artist's daughter created her own clothing line? John Lennon, Paul McCartney, or Michael Jackson? And that's Paul McCartney. It was Stella McCartney, of course. What 1963 Disney film is about two dogs and a cat who travel 200 miles to get home? 101 Dalmatians, The Incredible Journey, or Old Yeller? It's The Incredible Journey. The Code of Hammurabi was created in ancient Babylonia, China, or Greece? That's Babylonia. Which painter served in the US Navy during World War II? Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol, or Norman Rockwell? Norman Rockwell. Which animals survived extinction 65 million years ago and still exist today? Birds, alligators, or frogs? Birds. And that's why they are such incredible creatures. True or false? R2-D2 and C-3PO have guest cameos in Indiana Jones's film. No, I'll try. I was trying. I was going to do an impression. True, they did have a cameo in Indiana Jones's film. Much better than my cameo in Quiz Time. In the US, what type of animal predicts the start of spring according to legend? A rabbit, a beaver, or a groundhog? The groundhog. Which actress was one of the first members of the Women's Reserve in the US military? Bea Arthur, Betty White, or Carol Burnett? Bea Arthur. British inventor Sir James Dyson revolutionised the refrigerator, vacuum cleaner, or microwave oven? The vacuum cleaner. Most households have a Dyson. Do you have one? Or have you still got the old-fashioned Hoover vacuum cleaner? Which company's 1960s soda ad said, "For those who think young"? Pepsi, Coca-Cola, or 7-Up? It was Pepsi. What country has earthquakes most frequently? New Zealand, Japan, or the United States? It's Japan. Released in 1894, what was the first type of music video called? Illustrated song, moving music, or picture songs? Illustrated song. Not like the music videos we know today. What country celebrates the longest day of the year with holiday midsummer? Sweden, Scotland, or Croatia? It's Sweden. Why was the teddy bear named after Theodore Roosevelt? He designed the teddy bear, he started national parks, or he refused to kill a captured bear? He refused to kill a captured bear. India's government is called a union government, democracy, or democratic republic? A union government. When root beer was invented, it was warmed as used as a open wound healer, medicine, or black magic potion. Medicine. I think I would have been very sick when it was invented. When and where was the first Cricket World Cup held? 1960 in India, 75 in England, or 1980 in Ireland? 1975 in England. Who is the best-selling novelist of all time? J.K. Rowling, F. Scott Fitzgerald, or Agatha Christie? Agatha Christie. How old were the youngest murderers in British history? 17, 15, or 10? 10 years old. I'm not sure if that's referring to the James Bulger murderer. Which designer was killed in 1994? Giovanni de Versace, Calvin Klein, or Karl Lagerfeld? Gianni Versace. And your last one. True or false? All 1,000 plus variety of bananas are edible. I didn't even know there was more than one variety, but there you go. False. Only half are edible. That's probably why. So, how was your general knowledge today? Drop your score in the comments below, and of course like and subscribe so you get notified every time we post a new quiz. And please join us next time for more fun on Quiz Time.